Hello everybody, Team here, back at it again with another video. And this time we're going to be talking about the top 5 decks that if you're attending any locals, regionals, or YCS events anytime soon, these are the 5 decks you should be side decking for or preparing to see in general. So without any further ado, let's get into this list. Number 5, we have Zodiacs, obviously. Zodiacs, whatever the fuck you want to call these motherfuckers. Zoo, I don't even care. This deck is obviously a potential candidate for top tier because it has excellent Mrs. Radiant plays. It's perhaps the deck that can abuse Mrs. Radiant Water the most, if not the most. On top of that, keep in mind this deck has really easy one card exceeds plays. It can recur its resources from the graveyard with Daigusto Emerald and that trap card that allows you to put 5 from graveyard back into deck and draw. Basically a free Jar of Avarice for the entire archetype. And now it just has free access to Bayraj and allowing you to have disruption on your opponent's turn with cards like Dragon. And I mean, if the pure Zoo deck is not going to be a thing, Zoosh is going to become an engine for something else. Like, say, Pendulum Magicians, for example. It's actually become quite a popular engine in not only Pendulum Magicians, but Synchrons as well. So yeah, Zoo, definitely a top tier candidate for number 5. And before I go on, there's not really much to explain here about the deck. I mean, we've been dealing with this deck in our meta ever since February. I mean, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So by September, we're going to already have 8 months of putting up with this stupid deck. By the time we actually, it is already 8 months because Raging Tempest came early in February. So yeah, it's already past 8 months. But I say when we get to like September already, it's going to be like by the time we get the ban list, it will be like around 10 months we've had to put up with the same fucking deck. It's not even a joke anymore, guys. I'm not even making this up. It's gonna be around 10 months that we've been anywhere from 9 to 10 months that we've been dealing with the same fucking deck for like forever now. So now we're gonna be going on to the next deck now. Another candidate you shouldn't be too surprised about is Chainburn. Chainburn won our Dragon Duel and not WCQs, our worlds in general, the Dragon Duels, 13 years or younger. Dragon Duel Worlds, Chainburn won it for us. Therefore, you should expect to start seeing a lot more people jump on the bandwagon hype. I've been saying forever that Chainburn is a decent deck that you should be trying out, but now that the deck suddenly won, everybody's getting in that bandwagon right now. Everybody's jumping on that dick right now. So they can get that. Everyone wants to get on the bandwagon before there's no more spots available. And I don't think Chairburn's even going to get hit that hard on the ban list because it's only a deck that pops up when no one expects it. So whenever people expect it, it's not going to do anything. But this deck is all about catching your opponent off guard. Let's face it, none of those young kids there were prepared for a deck like Chainburn. They must have been side decking and main decking for like Zodiacs. No, not Zoo. Dinos and Dracos, because I completely forgot how Zoo got basically completely banned from the entire event. Basically, by getting the same ban list treatment as the OCG got. But yeah, Chainburn is definitely a possible top tier candidate for our future competitive scene. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot more Chainburn tops at our regionals and locals now. Like, don't be surprised if you happen to run into this at your locals because it's going to be very disappointing and painful for you if you do manage to get yourself ran up and caught up with this. Alright, moving on to number 3. The better version of Chainburn, obviously. Trickstar. In my last video, I said that Chainburn is better than Trickstar, but now that I've been thinking about it, I've combined Trickstars with my Heralds, and I've seen the difference in skill and power, and I have to admit that Trickstar is more powerful than Chainburn now. But the reason that this deck is gonna do so well is because of its phenomenal hand loop. And I'm just waiting for Reincarnation to go down in price so I can start investing in the shit myself. So yeah, not much to say here. Yeah, number 2, Dinos. The second deck that you should be siding for. Definitely one of the main decks here in America you should be side decking for. Because everybody's gonna start running it. Because people have a tendency to just buy out an entire deck. Just because it won our world. Just because it won like a huge tournament or something like that. Everybody just starts jumping on that dick of hype. Everybody likes to jump on that hype deck whenever something wins. Whenever something wins, that's when it starts getting hype, folks. So yeah, you're gonna have to deal with True Kings, Dinos, and Yang Zings all in the same deck now. And check out 3 Stacks True King Yang Zing variant, one of the most creative variants of the fucking deck that I've seen yet. So now on to our obvious number 1. You know, normally I have honorable mentions, and honestly there is none. You're either side decking for these decks, or you're gonna feel the pain. And these are the 5 decks that you need to customize your side decks to deal with most right now. Because this guy over here wins games. This nigga wins games. This guy is just insane, bruh. Bruh. This guy is ridiculous. He's too much. I mean, they got to limit him and his field spell in order for the decks to decline in popularity and play. And then the Wind Witch Invoke variant will take over. The reason why I find it so hard to side for this, you can't side Mask Restrict anymore. Because now True Draco players are getting slick. They're putting invoked engines and zoo engines and fucking spellbook engines in their deck to make it that you have to lock out normal and special summoning for them at the same time in order to pin them down. And even then, they still have ways of just play Dragonic Diagram, pop the spell from hand, get the spell, activate the spell, pop the spell from field, get the spell affecting graveyard, blow up, like, say, your Mask of Restrict or something like that, and then they can still go on again. True Draco is one of the most hardest decks to side for and work around, because you do not know which variants are going to come up at your locals. You will have to get to know the individual people who run the deck in order for you to be able to side for them properly. Like, for example, at my locals, we have a lot of True Draco Demise and True Draco Invoked, along with a True Draco Zodiac player as well. I mean, you have to know the players individually in order for you to be able to side or main correctly for them. Because there are just too many variants of this guy right here. And he's just got to go. So yeah, guys, that was my top 5 decks that you should be side decking for. Let me know what you guys think. Team Oil Tech signing out. Peace.